Hello, good morning. I've got I think, is a wonderful topic to talk about today. And this is the whole topic about our present moment. How do we best utilize our present moment? And lots of books are written about it. Eckhart Tolle's book, Practicing the Power of Now, it's one of my favorites. Uh, my wife and I went to New Caledonia. We're sitting on this beautiful island, which, if I was a flat earther, I reckon Ilda Pines is the end of the world. So that's where it is. If I was a flat earther, that's what I'd believe. Because when I got there, it felt so remote, and it's just a beautiful place. But we had a lot of spare time. We were there for 10 days, I think. And I think I read that book. It's so good. I read it probably 4 times. And so most people get the concept that the past is done. There's it is what it is, good or bad. It is what it is. Accept it, and it the past will either control you or you will control it. And you can, with the past, you can go through it and harvest what good you can, and then let the rest go. That's something most people, or not most, a lot of people get that concept, because if you're focusing your attention on the past, you're not spending any time in the moment. And that's one of Eckhart's main points, is that if we're not present right now, then we're actually um, not experiencing the full experience of life. So the next point is, most people get, is, why worry about the future when and this is separate to planning for the future. I'm not saying don't plan. What I'm saying is, if you're worrying about an outcome that may or may not happen, then why do that? Because it's taking your attention away from experiencing this present moment. And if you think about it, it's not a logical thing, because remember, our emotional state drives our behavior. Our behavior gives us our results. So if our emotional state is in a state of worried about something that may or may not happen, it's interesting that you have defaulted to that, and there's a reason for it, because our culture, actually, the paradigm that we exist in, for most people have adopted the paradigm of worry and doubt, of being cynical, of and so on. And most people get that. Uh, and so if you can worry about an outcome that may or may not happen, ask yourself the question: why don't you trust that the outcome is going to be favorable? Why wouldn't you flip it? So there's an opposite to everything. There's an inside to this room, and there's an outside, and there's an up and a down, and so on. So everything, if it's good, there's bad, and if there's bad, there's good. There has to be opposites with everything. And so what I want to talk about and give you um, a concept today, just to consider, because it's going to cost you nothing to consider it, and it's going to cost you nothing to apply the idea. Nothing. It makes sense if you want to become really effective in the moment, managing or leading yourself. You are the creator of the results in your life. If you don't accept that, then if you're blaming circumstances on someone else, if you are making excuses for yourself, then basically you're handing over your agency, your ability to lead yourself. Um, if you're blaming someone, to that person or that company or that circumstance, you're handing your agency over, instead of saying, "No, I can fix this," and you can. Everyone can. Everyone has access to the same mental faculties that can enable them to lift themselves out of any circumstance. Everyone has the same. We're just not taught to use that. That's the problem. Anyway, So what I'd like to do is just share my screen and talk about one concept. The concept is we become in the moment right now really good, and people get paid enormous amounts of money because they're really good at solving the problem right now. So what is that? That's external work where you're looking into the world using your five senses, and you are anticipating, or you can see blatantly in front of you a problem in your work life, your business, your personal life, whatever it is, your finances, and you say, okay, well, there's no money in my account. I've got a cash flow problem. Blah blah blah. You name any problem that you're looking into the world and you can recognize it. So then we automatically and become really good at using our intellect, and some people really expand their human intellect and are good at um, responding to those problems because they become good at their craft and at fixing those problems. But for many people, there'll come a point where that becomes a little bit tiresome because you've done it over and over and over, and you've experienced success as a result, and that is success, a part of success, but you're not feeling a sense of satisfaction, and you don't know why. You don't know why you're not feeling fulfilled because you've got all these accolades, you've got all this financial benefit, you're driving cars, you're living in the trophy home, and all this sort of thing, but you still feel this emptiness. Why? Well, it's quite simple. You're doing all this external work, and you're not balancing it with the appropriate amount of internal work. And what's the internal work? Well, it's pausing long enough to love yourself and just say, am I going in the right direction? Am I the decisions I made when I was a young person to choose the career that I'm in? Is it actually who I want to be? And that's the question that um, people forget to ask. So you can play a game to start trying to figure out what it is that you genuinely want and start to balance your external work. So in the moment you're saying, what can I do next to be really effective in achieving my next goal? But just reminding yourself, it might be the wrong goal that you go, there might be the wrong direction that you're going in. Just recognize that, accept that, and say, okay, well, what question can I ask myself in every moment I pause and reflect and just do a check at my progress, and you take a breath and you breathe in the question, what what surprise would I love to experience right now? If you ask yourself that question over and over, balanced with what do I what do I need to do next to become even more effective at solving problems? You're asking yourself the question, what would I love to experience right now? What would really surprise me? Because that surprise right now would be outside of what you think's possible, but it's what you want. So there's two different things. When you play that game, you actually have to park on the side and not invite your rational mind. It's not a rational thought. It's engaging your imagination. And your imagination in our society is really put to sleep. When I was at school, I was a daydreamer, and I'd have teachers, when I was a young fella, it was with a red ruler, slap you on the hand because I'm wandering off somewhere in my mind. And they said, no, no, you've got to do this maths equation. Look at the equation, fix the problem, solve the problem in front of you. Use your physical senses and your intellect. And then I'd get my grades, and they were never really terrific. And so then you're measured from that point on by your parents and other people that, that's who you are. No, it's not. It was who you were at that point in time where you might have not have applied yourself because you did actually literally didn't care. It didn't interest you. The only thing that's really important is this moment in time right now. and your experience of life. What, what we only have so many moments in a lifetime. Like it's finite. We know that we're only going to live, whatever it is. Maybe I've got 39 years plus left on this planet. So if I'm wasting a moment fussing about the past, good or bad, uh, I'm not really maximizing my experience of what I can experience right now. And if my experience right now is just solving problems, and that might satisfy me for a period of time, but it's kind of okay, more of the same. It's incremental gains and maybe financial benefit and so on. But it's not really exploring and asking the question, am I going in the right direction? So let me share my screen and I'll draw this for you because I've got a little diagram that you can use just to um, give order to the mind. Because the problem we have, and it's a really big problem, we think in pictures. So if I asked you to think about your fridge, go into your kitchen right now and look at your fridge. What color is it? Is it a single door fridge or is it a double door fridge? What way do those doors open? And so now you're not thinking of words, you're actually thinking of the picture of your fridge. No one has ever seen the mind, so we don't have a picture of the mind. So I'm going to draw a graphic that Dr. Thurman Fleet, he brought this in because he said in the healing arts, we're fixing the symptoms in people as doctors and so on, but no one's fixing the cause. And if our emotional state drives our behavior, our emotional state, our emotions are in our mind. So if we don't have a kind of a picture to work from, then we're all over the place. So we need some order. So this graphic is very easy to understand, and people laugh at it when they first see it. But when you grasp the power of it, and Bob Proctor, who was my mentor, he taught this for 60 years in some of the biggest organizations around the world. And when executives get this, then they're able to understand why people continue to come, even though they go to all manner of training, where the trainers are focused on behavior. They what they're trying to fix is effect, but the cause is actually in the emotional state of the mind, in the fixed ideas that are the belief system of the person, the paradigm that is set in the person's emotional mind, emotional section of their mind. So let me share the screen and we'll make this really quick. So how do you train yourself to anticipate good? So if I draw you today, this is you, and we say this is the stick figure concept. This is your mind. It's not your mind, but just for this exercise. And this is your body. And your body is the instrument of your mind. And if we say your mind has a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, and your conscious mind is your thinking mind. It's your reasoning mind. It's also where all the data from your five senses is flowing into at any given moment, which is, if you Google that, a really interesting subject because your mind has done you a favor and said, well, we'll only accept a certain types of data. Otherwise, you'll go absolutely balmy. There's just too much information all around us at any one moment. Just take adverts, for instance. If you were to consciously read every single advert, you'd never do any work. You'd never go to sleep. So our conscious mind filters a lot out for us. But the question is, what is it filtering out? So how does it filter out? Well, your subconscious mind's got fixed ideas. It's your belief system, your self-image, your habits, your routines that you move into every day. That's in your subconscious mind, and that impacts the decisions that you make in your conscious mind. The decision-making process of what you'll accept in and out. interesting because when you start to open up your paradigm, then you start to see and become aware of so much more. And that's how people get that, people call it transformation and so on in their effectiveness, is when they start to open up their paradigm. And it's difficult to understand that things could be better from your current paradigm. That's why people invest in mentors. And that I did, and I still do, because I'm always wanting to grow in my awareness so I can accomplish quite a significant goal that I've set for myself for fun. I don't have to do anything. Um, we lost everything. Well, I lost everything in a failed business in 2005, and then I I had to changed my paradigm and realized that everything that I thought I knew, and I'd been part of a company that listed on a stock exchange and all that sort of thing, but it didn't work 5 years later when I lost everything. So I had to change and shift my paradigm. And what I decided to do was figure out what was the whole subject of success. And so, like a lot of people, I've got a lot of books on my desk, and I read, and I have read even since I was in my 20s. So I never went to university, so I figured I'd better learn stuff. And that was good, but it was only good for a bit, because the problem with it is someone's trying to phone me here. And it's only good for a while, because if you don't implement what you read, then there's no point. And so what I want to show you here is every moment every moment, this is all we've got, and we're going to talk about only the moment. You've got energy flowing into us, into your mind, okay? And you are thinking about an idea, all right? So that idea is influenced by the paradigm that's down here in your subconscious mind. That's your fixed ideas. So you accept certain ideas, or you may even originate an idea that would be influenced by your paradigm. Your decision-making process is influenced by your paradigm. That's just what it is. So our emotional state drives our behavior. Our emotional mind is our subconscious. So unless we change the paradigm, shift the paradigm in the direction of what you would prefer, nothing changes. You don't change the behavior. So what we have is, I'm going to change the color here, is the energy coming in. It has no direction. We cause it to move in whatever direction we want. And quantum physics, they were all over this. People, spiritual people, they've been all over this for all the time. It's all the same thing. It's just energy, just is, and we get to manipulate and direct where that energy goes. So it comes in. We've got a picture in our mind. We get emotionally involved with it. And what does emotion do? Well, it adds vibrancy to an image, and it causes the body to move. It causes the molecules in your brain to move in a certain way and activate messages down your nervous system. And then I get to pick up this pen, and I'm able to deliberately draw what I'm drawing right now. It's quite an amazing idea. So then whatever we're emotionally involved with will cause our body to move. That causes us to behave in a certain way, and it gives us our results. Okay, so we get that concept, all right, over and over. So what happens now is, if your attention is on the past, and that's the past good. If your attention is on the past bad, if you're emotionally involved with, how terrific you were in the past in various areas, or you're emotionally involved with some trauma that happened to you in the past, and I'm not taking anything away from it. We've all had trauma, but it doesn't serve us to stay there, okay? So if you're able to learn to let that go, it actually works for you, because now you say, well, I'm just going to be in the present moment right now. What can I do next? So then you asking that question, which we become really good at. What can I do next? That's down here in quadrant 3. That's quadrant 1, quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 is the drama of life. It's what's happening right in front of us. It's happening. We know that this thing's coming down the road in our business, and so on. And so we get really good at asking ourselves the question, what do I need to do now? That's great success, okay, when we're good at it. But there is a balance between the internal and external work. So if we start to add one more question, we ask this question all the time, what can I do next? We become very effective at problem solving. And then we ask ourselves this question, what would I love to be surprised by right now? What would I love to be surprised by right now? Just ask yourself that question. It's not going to cost you anything, but what it's doing now, it's activating your imagination. This is your imagination, all right? So let's say deep down in your heart, there is a goal that you would love, or a experience you would love to experience, but it's outside of what you understand right now. And your logical mind that's down here, that's, it's saying, well, Shane, we've got these problems to fix, and we don't know how to get to this up here. So let's just park that off. But if you just start asking the question, what would I love to be surprised by right now? And you start to ask questions along here, what you're doing is you're doing your practical, focused on external, you're doing internal work where you're exploring your imagination. So what happens is you start to engage your imagination. What happens then is that's where you start to get inspiration, inspired ideas. You start to cultivate the you start to cultivate hope. You move into every day when you start doing it, and then you start getting, you start recognizing that the surprises that are kind of linked to this idea here. That's when you start to get a bit of hope, and you start to anticipate more and more surprises. So I play this game with my clients that I mentor, and in their businesses, we text each other when we have a moment where we're surprised by something that's in the direction of the goal that we're going in. We all have really big goals, and I keep getting these texts from my clients. Say just thumbs up, suggesting do the same here, because when you start doing that, then what you're doing now is you not only are you doing your work, your balance, your external work, but you're going to the cause, your mind, and you're saying, well, I need to start looking for some fun in life where I can actually lift my spirits and get really enthusiastic about possibility, what's possible. So to do these things down here, the problem solving, which is great, and sometimes I get satisfaction out of it, but I'd really love to experience more in life. And so I'm suggesting play this game. I call it the surprise game. And so even on my goal card, which I write every day and I put in my pocket, this is my pocket billboard. And I've written here, how would I love to be surprised today? And it's fun. It's like people, a mentor of mine, he used to buy the lottery ticket just so that he could dream about what he would do if he won the big one. That's all. He knew it was idiot tax, as a friend of mine called. Like he wasn't going to win it, so whatever. But it was just his way of um, of opening up his imagination to what's possible. Anyway, I hope that helps. And if it does, let me know. Love to hear your comments. Thank you.